morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Turn Left. I am your host, Indiana's own Dana Black, coming to you live. Yes, all the way live from Black Pearl Studios, where we talk about Indiana politics from the left side of things. Apparently, I am having a very hard time remembering my own call tagline during the 2024 election cycle, but we're going to get it together. Guys, there's so much happening at the State House. I'm not even going to waste any time. Wait, I am going to tell you that I attended an amazing conference last week, Creating Change. Typically, I go to political conferences, but this conference was an activist conference. And the energy and the amount of enthusiasm that folks have for making changes in our communities, specifically in the LGBTQ plus communities, was fantastic. And every time I go to one of these conferences, trust me, I'm learning some things that I can bring back to the movement here in Indiana, but I'm also meeting some amazing people. So look for some of my relationships that I've built over the years to come to Indiana and help motivate us and stay committed to the movement of moving Indiana outside of the 1950s. I mean, golly, can we get past 1964 at least? 65 Voting Rights Act or something? I don't know. And obviously there's a lot of stuff happening at the State House. You know, typically, you know me, I am begging people to get involved and to run for office and to try to help flip seats in the State House, because some of the legislation that people are introducing, right, it just defies logic to me when it's only about one section or one certain group of people. There's always this need to deny one group of folks something and to elevate another group of folks. And I just don't understand the thought process behind a lot of our legislators in our State House. But this session, which was supposed to be a calm session, which was supposed to be, super simple, is still wrought with a lot of controversial bills. All right, so let me go ahead and get into my rant. Mirror Indiana reports an effort by House Republicans to undo a special funding district in downtown Indianapolis moved forward on Wednesday. That's when House Bill 1199, which aims to repeal the language in state law that authorizes the district in this mile square, passed out of the House Ways and Means Committee with a 15-9 vote, largely along party lines. The district is expected to raise $5.5 million each year to pay for additional cleaning crews, public safety efforts, including patrols and security cameras, and outreach to homeless residents. The funds also would support operations at a low-barrier homeless shelter planned for Fountain Square. Homeowners in the mile square would pay a flat $250 fee, while other property owners would pay 0.168% of their property gross assessed value, with a cap of an overall assessment growth tied to inflation. In anticipation of the bill's passage, Committee Chair Representative Jeff Thompson of Lisden brought forward two amendments that aimed at replacing that revenue that would disappear with the loss of the district. One amendment added a separate bill would allow Marion County to raise income tax rates by 0.02% to pay for services within the mile square. In other words, the cost of providing those services would be spread out across all residents of the county. He says there's nothing requiring anybody to do anything, but it does open up some better options for Marion County. Democratic lawmakers also expressed frustration with the rejection of the funding tool that the same legislative body had approved less than 1 year prior. The language authorizing the district was written into last year's budget largely with the help of Senator Kyle Walker. The city county council approved the district in December. I'm concerned that we are in almost a bait and switch, said Representative Cherish Pryor of Indianapolis. We give you this tool, but now we don't like that you acted upon the tool, so we're going to take it away and try to give you other options. Many people believe that the Indianapolis City County Council will not vote to raise taxes. Now, this bill is problematic for multiple reasons. One, it's only the mile square. We were able to create these zones all over the state, but we're taking it away from Indianapolis and the mile square. Well, let's talk about the revenue that the mile square actually generates. Let's see, are there any events coming up in the near future that is going to add revenue to the city of Indianapolis and to business owners in the city of Indianapolis, let me think. Oh, yeah. The NBA All-Star Game will be here next month. We often host Final Fours. We often host major sporting events in downtown Indianapolis, not to mention the convention center, which has conventions from all over the country, 4-H being one of y'all's favorites. But now we're saying this particular area of the state, which is one of the highest revenue generating spaces in our state, can't receive these same zoning opportunities that other places can get, right? A special funding district. They're taking it away from, again, they just passed this last year. And when the city council was like, yo, here's an opportunity to improve what we do for downtown Indianapolis, which has all the tourism, it has all the sporting events, and generates all the revenue, they're taking it away. This goes in line with their desire to remove mass transit, public transportation with the purple line and the blue lines and all that Indigo was putting forth. See, there used to be a thing called home rule. It's only home rule as long as it ain't Indianapolis. The revenue generate. There are over 35 counties right now that are losing residents and are losing tax dollars because they're losing residents. And that funding comes from other places like Indianapolis to give them that money to make up for their shortfall. But nobody talks about that. All they ever want to do in that state house, which, by the way, is in the Mile Square, is looking to make it harder for Indianapolis to do what it does. I don't know why. It just seems like you would think, Republicans, small business owners and revenue generating and free market and all that other stuff would make it easier for the place that these things are actually happening to happen. But it's not just, the restricting access to funding to the city of Indianapolis. Republicans also want to restrict education from 14-year-olds. What, Dana? What? What are you talking about? The people that are all about educating and choice and all of this and blah, blah, blah. Fox 59 reports, as workforce shortages continue to grow, a number of bills could change how many hours minors in Indiana can work each day. The Indiana State AFL-CIO said it's eyeing 3 child labor bills this session, and that the bills, one of which passed through the House committee on Monday, could reverse years of their work to protect young Hoosiers. It's rolling back child labor laws that we have now, says Sean Christ, Secretary Treasurer of the Indiana State AFL-CIO. Around the nation, we are seeing these bills pop up, same exact bills. They're seeing them all over the place. Chris said HB 1093 would get rid of provisions that spell out how long 16 and 17-year-olds, and in some cases 14 and 15-year-olds, can work. For 16 and 17-year-olds, some of those provisions include working more than 9 hours in a day, more than 40 hours a week between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. State Representative Kendall Cupp, who authored the bill, said Indiana's child labor laws are stricter than what federal law currently allows. In an era where we have workforce issues throughout this country, it really doesn't make a lot of sense for us to tell our teenagers that it's okay to work less. See, okay, guys. So say you're a 14-year-old and your parent, who may not be on the up and up because we just happen to have these kind of humans on the planet, says, my kid can drop out of school at 14 years old, a freshman in high school, and go work. You have now restricted that young person's lifetime earning potential. All for what? For a quick buck now? Guys, this is not good legislation. We want all of our kids in school and learning. We want them to get an education so that their earning potential down the line is greater. What do they need at 14 years old? What do they need? They're typically not paying mortgages. They're not paying rent. They're paying a light bill or a phone bill. What is it that they need to be working more than 40 hours when they should be in school, or working overnight when they need to be preparing for school? Somebody tell me why this makes any sense whatsoever. Tell me why. There's a reason why we enacted child labor laws because there were organizations out there that were taking advantage of young people and having them work ridiculous hours in harmful conditions. And now these folks want to go back to the 1919s and the 1920s. Let's cut it out. Let's cut it out. And then, of course, there's the desire to bring certain religions in public schools. The Indiana Capitol Chronicle reports lines between church and state blurred at the Indiana State House on Wednesday as lawmakers gave the go-ahead for two education bills that seek to increase students' access to faith leaders and religious instruction. One proposal, House Bill 1137, would require schools to approve parental requests for students to leave school during the day for religious instruction. A separate measure, Senate Bill 50, could bring paid chaplains into Indiana's public schools. Both bills advanced from their assigned committees and now are headed to the respective chambers for further considerations. Chaplains can already volunteer at public schools. Senate Bill 50 makes it clear that they can be employed to provide secular support to students and school employees, given they have a master's degree in divinity, theology, religious studies, or a related field, as well as 2 years of counseling experience. Gary Lacine, pastor at Christ Church Cathedral in Indianapolis, also pushed back, telling lawmakers he feels no way prepared or qualified either academically or professionally to serve as a secular counselor or academic advisor or a chaplain in public schools. He said most seminaries do not require courses in counseling childhood or youth psychosocial development. He said he is worried the legislation would also make it difficult for chaplains to maintain appropriate professional boundaries. Even if I were to dispense secular advice to a young person as a chaplain, they would have a difficult time separating me from my role or my calling and could interpret that a religious counseling, whether that was the intent by me or not. I believe there is a place for clergy and people of faith in school, and that is serving as a volunteer. That is what chaplains are trained to do. We are not licensed, trained, or called to serve in secular settings or as mental health professional counselors. Okay, there's a lot of things to unpack with this particular bill. One, Senate Bill 50, which I'm specifically speaking on, says that we want to go ahead and pay religious folks who have divinity backgrounds to come in and be counselors versus actually paying real counselors who have actually gone to school to counsel young people. Help me make sense of this. Also, we're taking funding that we need to be giving to teachers so they don't have to be Uber drivers in their off hours and giving it to religious folk. Also, how many Sikhs will be able to be in our schools? How many Muslim leaders will be able to be in our schools? And to a lesser extent, how many of our Jewish brothers and sisters will be able to be in these schools? See, this is a way to cherry pick, good people, a good way to cherry pick which type of religious study or religious doctrine will be introduced into our public schools. And if I'm clear, and if I go back to, HB 1137, suggesting that schools must adhere to a parent's request to take their kid out of school for religious instruction. First of all, why do they have to be during school hours? You know, everybody knows that school is between 7 and 3:30. If you have some kind of special religious education that you want to give to students, why can't you do it after school or before school or on the weekends? Why do we have to take kids out of school? So now that's multiple bills where we are reducing education hours in public schools. When in Indiana, we're lagging behind on so many areas of public education and teaching our kids. We're lagging behind, but we're saying, oh, less kids. Now, mind you, this is in conjunction with the increased funding that charter schools and private schools will be getting. So Okay, public schools, you don't have enough money. We don't have enough money for your kids anyway. They don't even have to be there. So now you're creating a socioeconomic class, those whose parents could make up the difference for those private schools that our public dollars are going to, and those that cannot. We are keeping Indiana in a really bad place when it comes to how we educate the future of our nation, the future of our state. We are not preparing young people to be the leaders and the innovators and the entrepreneurs. And if they are going to be those places, those folks in those places, they only come from a special place, which are private, charter, and parochial schools. This is so problematic because we are really creating a divide in our system based on where you live or how much money your parents make. And that is wrong. That is wrong on so many levels. And finally, Chalkbeat reports, because I just mentioned charter schools. Several former charter school operators were indicted last week for their alleged roles in conspiracy to defraud the state of Indiana for padding student enrollment at virtual charter schools. The operators of Indiana Virtual Schools and Indiana Virtual Pathways Academy were accused of inflating the numbers of students who attended the institution by thousands of students and accepting more than $44 million from the state, according to the 24-page federal indictment. The defendants face a combined 76 charges, almost as much as Trump, including wire fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and money laundering. A state audit in 2020 said the two schools inappropriately spent more than $85 million in public funding on companies connected to school officials. Of that amount, more than $68 million was improperly collected by the schools, the audit report. The state funding was allegedly funneled through several for-profit companies owned by the school's founder, Thomas Stoughton, and then paid out to himself, his family, former Indiana Virtual Pathway School and Superintendent Percy Clark, and others. The indictment said federal prosecutors alleged the money was then spent on extravagant purchases ranging from a Cadillac and jewelry from Tiffany's and to private school tuition. So everything we warn people about in school choice and all of this nonsense is actually happening. But the killer part, the indictments are bad. The wasteful spending and misappropriation of our public dollars, right? You know who suffers? Students. The students suffer. The students are the ones who are not getting the funding that they need. The students are the ones who won't have access to extracurricular activities. Students are the ones who will not have access to band and playing music and things of that nature, because this is what the Republican Party is doing to education, public education. They are systematically dismantling your child's ability to get an affordable education. They're not paying teachers. They want to bring in a religious ideology. They want kids to work at 14 years old. They want to be able to pull them out. And then, oh, by the way, if we give a charter school money, they may just not even use it in the right ways. That was $85 million that was supposed to go to students that did it. You can't tell me you care about children and their education when you pass legislation over the decades that lead to this kind of nonsense. Students suffer. And when students suffer, the future of Indiana will indeed suffer. That is my rant. I know it was a lot, and I got a great guest, I promise. But y'all, get out, get engaged, give all that you can. My slogan this year is time, talent, or treasure. So please donate to a candidate, donate to a political organization that is doing the work for the people, because those folks in the State House are not. And if we don't show up, we will continue to lag behind. Guys, our future depends on this. So get involved. All right, now it's time to hear from my sponsors, Bohm's Unique Boutique.
Today's show is brought to you by Bohm's Unique Boutique. Click on the QR code. And for all Turn Left listeners, you can get a 10% discount on your order by using the code Democrat. Be sure to visit www.bohmsuniqueboutique.com.
Brought to you by Vince as an African-American
Democrats, are you looking for an affordable content creation option? If so, look no further than Black Pearl IT Solutions and Black Pearl Studios. Indiana's own Dana Black is providing many of the communication wraparound services any Democratic organization needs. No matter the size of the budget, Indiana's own has you covered. Just scan the QR code or visit www.blackpearl_its.com. All right. As you guys can see, I can create content. That's 3 commercials right there that Black Pearl IT Solutions created. So let me help you. Let me help you get your message out, right? No, I don't have all the $20,000 fancy equipment, and no, you won't have a $20,000 video. But for social media and all the other aspects of life, reach out to me. All right, guys, I'm really excited because, one thing that we encourage everyone in the state of Indiana to do is to step up. Step up and run for office. We heard that the sitting congressman in District 4 has decided not to run for re-election. So guess what? No? Was it 8 or 4? I'm sorry, it might have been 8. My bad. Oops. I saw the look on your face. Well, anyway, District 4 has been controlled by Republicans way too long. And I'm bringing you a candidate right now that is going to talk about why District 4 needs a change in Washington, D.C. Not to mention, let's have some sanity to Congress. Congressman Carson and Congressman Mervan can't do it alone, so let's send them some help. Y'all give it up for my guest tonight, running for the United States Congress out of District 4, Rimpi Girn. Rimpi, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you so much. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm so excited to have you on the show. Before we get started, was there anything in my rant that you wanted to comment on? If not, I understand. But did you take anything away from that?
Actually, I feel like I'm talking when you spoke all these issues. I have the same issues. I looked at all this bill every day and I'm like, okay, what is going on with Indiana? Why we are talking, we're taking our state back to 1920s or 1950s. I am totally 100% with you. We cannot have our kids working past 8 o'clock at night because they have a school to go, our education, our future. So I feel like I was talking when you were talking about all those issues and all that.
I love hearing it. I'm so grateful that you came on the show. So you know what? I want people to support you. So guys, click on the donate link. And as we're talking, you're gonna hear some nuggets that are gonna drive you. So click on the donate link because she's gonna need all the support she can get. All right, Rimpi, tell the people who you are and where you come from.
All right. Hi, my name is Rimpi Girn. I am from Indiana. We moved to Indiana in 2007. Originally, I'm from India, from northern part of India. My religion is Sikh. We moved to U.S. back in 1999 in California. I started, my first job was McDonald's when I was doing night school, sweeping floors, cleaning bathrooms. That's how I started my American journey, my American dream. I have a sibling. I'm married. My husband is a trucker. Our first jobs for both of us was a union worker. We worked under the union. I saw my father working really hard when we were growing up here. I was about 18 when we moved here. My brother was 14. I saw my dad working really hard, longer hours. Being an immigrant, there was a lot of issues, going back and then. Then I took a night school. I worked in a medical field. Then 2019, I started my own insurance agency here in Indiana, in Plainfield. I'm an entrepreneur, businesswoman. I have 3 children, 1 dog. I have a 21-year-old and I have an 11-year-old.
Whoa.
My kids went to A1 schools, all 3 of them. Both of them are older ones are graduated. And then the youngest one is in 5th grade. She's going to intermediate school right now. I have a business here. I've been an insurance agent since 2012. Before that, I used to work for Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield as a medical management. Before I moved to Indiana, I used to work at the hospital. It was a nonprofit organization, Kaiser Permanente Hospital, under the union. We had a union over there. That's my journey. Saw my mom and dad working really hard. I saw my mom when we were younger. it was really hard to afford when you're new immigrant to the country. My mom used to skip a bus so she can save $4 a day. So end of the week, we don't have to ask our dad for money for groceries. So
Wow.
she can help my dad.
Wow.
Um, yes, I'm so proud of her, so proud of my parents. Worked really hard. Where I am today, um, that's who I am. And today I'm running for Congress
I
in
love it.
United States with my American dream.
I love it. And you know what? That's amazing. Thank you for that. But I'm going to ask a few questions. Do you remember the conversations that your parents had that made them decide we're going to leave India and we're going to go to the United States? Do you remember why they made that decision to uproot the family and bring you guys over here?
For better future. Actually, my father was in a merchant navy. He had opportunity to come here. He came here, but then he didn't have a job the way he had it before, so he had to start from zero. Then we came over as a family, mom, dad, mom, and me and my brother. We came to this country in 1999. Dad came in 1995. We started over our life. We are farmers from back home.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, but in India, farmers don't have opportunities, and a lot of our crops are. You know how we have options here for buy insurance for our crops. There's a lot of opportunities you have here. Back home, that wasn't the deal
Mm.
back in the days. So we're farmers, and we came here for a better future.
You know, it's interesting because just listening to your story, you have touched on so many different walks of life just in the United States and Indiana. You talked about being in agriculture and being farmers. Well, Indiana's pretty much a rural state. You talked about working at McDonald's. My first job was at McDonald's too, and what those hours looked like. You talked about being in the union, and you talk about being an entrepreneur.
Yes.
You are a person that encompasses a lot of different spaces. Is this one of the reasons why you felt like you would be a great candidate to represent the fourth district in Washington, D.C.?
I feel our democracy is at risk. I feel our health, our education, everything is at risk. Everything has been weaponized. That is why I want to run. As a mother, I know a pain as for education. I see my younger kids going to public school, and there's not a lot of money in public schools. Our teachers are not getting paid enough. So opportunity came to my door, and then I was like, why not grab it and let's run, and then I can bring extra support to our Congressman Carson and Congressman McFinn, so we can do a better support for Indiana.
I love it. And do you think those experiences that you've accumulated over the years in all those different spaces will allow you to have different perspectives when you're looking at pieces of legislation that are coming your way?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Because my healthcare experience, um, and that comes from my career.
Hmm.
Education, by looking at my kids. I'm a mother, and I see what my kids need when it comes to education. When it comes to, I have a teacher's friends. I see them. Our teachers are not getting paid enough. I even had a one time, this teacher who was my daughter's teacher came to, my brother owns a business here in Plainfield. She was asking for a job, and I felt so bad. Why our teachers have to have a second job in order to survive here?
That doesn't make sense. It makes no sense at all, and we're neglecting them. And but the people that suffer the most, yes, our teachers are obviously suffering right now because they're financially strapped. But it's our kids. It's the future, and this is going to be a perpetual cycle if we don't end it.
No, you're right.
So
You're right.
one of the things I posted when I was advertising for the show because I was really excited.
Mhm.
I typically stay in the borders because Indiana's own likes to talk about what's happening in the State House. But
Mhm.
we have seen a lot of crazy in Congress. And
Yes.
and I'm going to give the other side the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say it's a minority of Republicans who are just stupid. But then there's the other Republicans that capitulate and go along with the stupid. When you look at the way our Congress is being ran right now with what you see on the other side, how does it make you feel? How does it make you feel when you watch? I'm not going to name none of those names because I don't want to give them space, but you know who they are. Everybody knows who they are. The crazy chick from Georgia, the crazy chick from Colorado, the other
Yes.
dude from Florida, dude from Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
How does it make you feel when you see that? And these folks are stuck, are going to be reelected over and over again?
I feel sorry for those states. I feel sorry for those people, but it's the people who's bringing those congressmen over and over and over. Those people, they are elected by the people for the people. People needs to understand that why this stuff is not getting done for us. It's time for change. And I think 2024, it's long enough now. Let's talk about Florida. It's long time now that people should realize that, you know what, it's time for change and growth. This stuff is happening over and over and over, and we need a change. Let's talk about Colorado. I'm not going to say the name again. She made a mock of a person who was not physically capable, right? So that is wrong. Why do we need a Congress who is mocking people? No, we got elected by the people. We need to work for the people. We need to work with people. We're not there to mock anyone.
I get it. I get it. And then you have, we obviously have some immigrants that are in Congress right now that are doing the best, right? To bring a different perspective to how we govern here in the United States. You know, we know right now that everybody on the right is crying, oh, the border, the border, the border, the border. But then there was a bipartisan piece of legislation that was looking to get passed out of the Senate that everyone is saying, nope, you can't do it because the Orange Menace doesn't want anybody to do it. So now they remember they were crying fentanyl, border crossings, invasion, blah, 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 blah. But now they have this bill that's ready to go and now they're pulling it back. When you hear the duplicity that comes from the other side, especially when we're talking about, your family was a family that came to the United States to seek a better life. You didn't do it because you wanted to invade or take over anything. When you hear the duplicity, what does that do for you on the inside?
I feel that our country is made with a diversity. Anybody's coming over here, they're not coming, like you said, invade. Everybody's coming here for a better future. And if we all are made with this country is made with the immigrant. Yeah. If we don't have a hardworking immigrant, look what happened in Florida when Florida person, I'm not going to say the name.
Yeah, we ain't saying their names.
Right. So when he made all those laws last summer, what happened in Florida?
They had a shortage of workers.
Shortage of workers, right? Farmers were crying because their crops, their fruits were getting molded. They're getting rotten on the trees because people from here don't want to work. They cannot work past 8 hours.
And they didn't want to do that work.
They don't want to do exactly. So where is the hardworking people come from? Across the border.
Yeah. I mean, and it wasn't just in the agro field. They even had construction issues too. They were like, "Yo, I need." So your skilled workers, your carpenters, your tile layers, and they were like, "Yo, we out," because they about to lock us up. And even the home builders were like, "What are we supposed to do?"
Yes,
it's bad, and I just think that we're not being honest about it because the people are being lied to is what it is. And I think it's a twofold. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think, the fact that we continue to defund public education and we're not teaching folks how to literally look at information and disseminate information is why they're being duped, because they're being duped, right?
Yes.
How would you, when you go in, you're going to have to make friends. You're going to have to find ways to get things done. What is your style? How will you go in when you go to Washington? How will you create relationships to try to solve some of the problems that we see?
That is a tough question you asked, but I am going to do anything in my power to get work done, what we need to get done, those policies about immigrant, about our public health, about our education. I guess we all need to come together. We all needs to agree to some disagreements.
Compromise.
I need to make them understand that the education, public education, is a future of our country. If our kids are not going to have a better education today, we won't be best country in the world.
Yeah.
We need better education. We need a better health system. We need better teachers. That will make us to the top. If we are going to defund our public funds, public education, we're not getting anywhere because not everybody can afford to send their kids to charter school.
No.
Or public schools.
No. And all the things, all the wraparound services that come with having to get them there, the transportation and things of that nature.
Yes.
You mentioned a couple times healthcare. This week was the anniversary, the 51st anniversary of Roe v. Wade, which has now been overturned. You're in the medical space. We've talked about how, you don't have to, I don't understand why people think that you have to agree that that you have to agree for abortion for yourself to understand that I need to make a choice about my own body, right?
Mm-hmm.
From a medical perspective, talk about the impact that, Dobbs is having on women and how you will advocate for protecting women's right to their body autonomy.
What my understanding is, my opinion is, men don't have a right to make a choice about women's body.
Hello. Period. Dot.
Right? Yes. Everybody should have equal healthcare rights. I had a meeting earlier today, and then it came to my knowledge 64,000 babies were born by the rape. Those women were raped.
64,000?
Yes.
Well, it doesn't sound like we have an abortion problem. We have a lack of control by men problem. Because I'm not saying that women can't sexually assault, but we don't make babies when we do it.
Exactly. So what is that future is going to be for those babies? Every time those mothers are going to look at the face of the baby, they're going to be angry. There's going to be a mental health issue. There's going to be a trauma to those mothers. And then again, the kids' future.
Yeah.
So it's my body, my choice. If men can make a choice about their body, why women can't? Why we have to rely on men to make a choice about our body?
We don't. I mean, we're no longer hunter-gatherers. we don't need them to go out and slay the deer for us. Kroger got it.
Yep. You're right. So
what are they?
And how?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you the candidate. You come on.
So in a healthcare, let's talk about this in healthcare, health insurance industry.
Okay.
If a woman is pregnant and then she's going for a new job, employer won't offer her insurance. Why is that? Why?
Wait, if she's currently pregnant and she's looking for a job and she gets the job, the employer won't provide insurance coverage?
Health insurance, yes.
I did not know that. Why?
Because they have to pay the benefits. She's already pregnant. That comes under pre-existing condition. That's why everybody having a problem with the ACA care. ACA care restrict those restrictions. It says everybody should get an equal care.
Wow.
And now we're getting into an issue as a healthcare insurance provider. We're getting into an issue where these providers or the hospitals, let's look at the new, is it $12.99 HB? $12.99, where the doctors can make a choice whether they want to see this patient or not. Why in a healthcare? Why we're jeopardizing our health for our kids, our elders, our mothers who are going to give a birth? You became a doctor to give a services to a patient, right? You took an oath that you will serve a services. So why they're pushing this kind of bill that where doctor can refuse to refer a patient, where doctor can refuse to refer a services, provide a services, or hospital can refuse a services because they have a problem with the ACA. ACA is a very, really good product where everybody can get affordable health care. They only have a problem where the health care is coming from.
That is crazy.
Yes. A lot of doctors They are refusing services because the patient have a insurance plan from Affordable Care Act.
So is it a thing where they think they're not getting enough, they're not going to get enough money from the ACA?
Probably that is the case, probably because ACA has it, they all have a contract that this much they will get, this much they won't, no matter how big claim they can submit it to the insurance company, and there's always a certain amount they get paid. They do get paid.
Interesting. I didn't realize, because I don't know how it works. I mean, I just get what my employer has, which is also, it can be problematic if your healthcare is tied to your employer, which kind of limits your ability to move. Like, I'm not leaving Act Blue ever, so
yeah,
I'm not ever leaving. I didn't know that.
Medicare. When you have a Medicare, it's really hard to find a good plan for a person who has a diabetes, person who has a heart disease, because you have to look at every single medicine, how much it's going to cost them, if it's going to be covered by the plan. It's why, if the person worked their entire life until 65, why they can't have a decent health plan at age 65.
Yeah, when there's ageism in almost every industry, and even except for politics, you can be 110 in politics.
You'll still be covered.
You'll still be, and have Secret Service.
Yes. And then we, let's say the politicians are elected for the people. So why we can't work for the people?
That's the way it's supposed to be. But there are a lot of people who are working for themselves. There's been story after story of legislators going in as, regular everyday, I'm making 100,000, which is still a lot, right? It's a lot of money, but they come out millionaires. They are, they're worth millions. That's because they have, sold themselves. And look, this ain't relegated to one party or the other. There's a whole lot of Democrats that have gained a lot of wealth too. So I'm with you. Like, I never understood how you could say I'm, for serving the people and then not actually want to serve the people, or not willing to actually go and talk to your people. When I lived up in District 5, Representative Susan Brooks was my congressional person when I was up there. And she would only have she would never have town halls. She would have a session, but you could only come in one at a time. And it was, I think she only had 2 the entire time I lived in her district. Whereas, Congressman Carson, I see him everywhere.
Yes, I have so much respect for him.
Yeah. Like, he's everywhere. He's not afraid to show up in places. Congressman Frank Mervan is the same way. I'm not even up in Lake County, and I see how he gets out and gets around. But these folks don't want to talk to the people. They don't want to work for the people. They don't even in our state house. Like, we got people are begging for legalization, cannabis legalization. Like, poll after poll after poll in our state house is like, yo, we want cannabis to be legal. Every state around us.
Yes.
It's got legalized cannabis, and just sucking that revenue out of Indiana. And our people, I almost called them dumbasses, but our people are like, no, we don't want legalized cannabis, And so that's what I'm glad that you said that you want to serve the people. Where did your passion for wanting to serve the people come from? Was it from the medical field and what you saw? Because it's more than just being, in the business and then still wanting to serve people. Is very different.
It's there's small and there's a lot of small things, when your pool is already, when the pool is full with small things, one day it gets full and then it gets overloaded, then you decide, what, I have given a chance. I have never seen my opponent. I've been living here in this district since 2007. I have never seen him. He never came. He never, came into the public meetings, never sent us anything. Okay, do you need any help? What I can do to make a better district, right? Let's talk about education. He's there. People put him in there to make a better district for. Did he do the better job? No, we never saw him. What is he doing for our education?
None of that.
So nothing. But what is he doing for our healthcare? What is he doing for our farmers? Where I came from, we say no farmers, no food. I've been going out, meeting the farmers from day one. My first meeting with the farmers, I was by myself when I signed up for this journey. One of my chair called me. They're like, we're having a parade in this district. My district, go all the way down to Jasper.
Mm-hmm.
Never seen a Jasper before, never heard of Jasper before. I went all by myself over there for my first parade. Met the farmers. Then I've been going around meeting farmers, and I want to listen to their issues. I want to understand what they're going through. That what makes you a candidate. That what makes you that you are for the people. I promise I will not even disappear if once I get elected. I am there for the people,
When you're down there talking to the farmers, what are they telling you?
We talked about they do have some issues about their machineries. A lot of our farmers losing their farms.
Mm-hmm.
One of the county, Jasper County, what I really liked over there, they're having a biggest solar panel area over there.
Okay.
The farmers are doing really good with that.
Okay.
But I want to bring that to, I want to talk to the farmers about this, about every single county. I have 16 counties under my district.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yes, that is a lot. But I am there for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm running. It's not like I'm running. I'm already making my end meet. I'm doing good. I'm a businesswoman. I'm a mother. I'm providing to my family. My husband is a trucker. We are a hardworking family. But these issues are not getting solved. We're putting the same politicians over and over and over into the Congress, into the DC, into our Senate here in Indiana. Look what they're doing for us. Look at all the bills this year happening in Indiana.
Yeah. So when they talk to, no, it's okay, because I want to go back to the farmers, because I know that Senator Shelley Yoder in our state house has been highlighting our farmers as well. And when you say that the farmers are losing their farms, basically those are small businesses, right? And they're losing their businesses. Have they offered up anything that they would like to see you?
We just had a one meeting right now, and the other meeting got canceled the other day.
Okay.
I was over there to listening to them, what they're doing, what they're going through. We have another meeting coming up pretty soon. The one got canceled because of the fog issue we had the other day. So I will be involved down the road more with them, because first I want to hear them out. Mm-hmm. What are their issues? How I can make better for them? What I can do for them. Mm-hmm. And then we'll go from there.
I think that is so important, because one, I like that as a Democrat, you went into rural spaces. As a Democrat woman of color, you went into rural spaces. I tell my Democrats all the time, even though we think that we may not get as many votes as we need, we still have to go and talk to them. What made you, you said you went by yourself. Now, I'm Indiana's own. I will travel anywhere by myself. I don't care. Were you nervous? Were you scared?
That first time I was nervous, because, I'm not a politician. I'm a normal businesswoman and a mother. So, but the second time I had almost 15 people with me for my second parade.
I love it.
And third time, same thing. Third time is the charm. Then I had a wonderful person on my team, my campaign manager, Sean Johnson.
Hey, my nephew.
He makes everything better, right?
Hey, I love that.
Yes. So
he's definitely my nephew. We connected right away. I know this interview ain't about him, but like when you meet young people who are doing great things, mm-hmm. you want to make sure that you shout them out and lift them up. They're not gonna get everything right. Our job is just to guide them and help them be better, so they can be better than we were. So let me ask you this: since he's a young guy, right? He's a young Dem. Mm-hmm. What gave you the confidence to say, I'm gonna look at young people to help me with this campaign?
Because they're our future. They're our future for our country. I want more young people, more youth, younger people to get involved into the party, to our politics, because they can understand more. There's a modernization. Let's talk about Sean. Since he came on my campaign, he has manages to work very hard way. He is running very successful modern day campaign. So we need that. We can't go with a paper and pen everywhere. We need a modern days campaign team these days, mm-hmm. which he is. So younger people with the young youth will have a technical sorry,
Technology. Yeah. No, we're good.
technology.
Yeah.
We'll,
Yeah.
we'll have we're with the new technology modernization, and it will, I think, down the road, if we are including more young people with us, young youth with us, I think that will make a good future for our party,
I agree.
our country.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need young people in, because they do understand everything better now.
Yeah.
We can't have the same person over and over elected and they're not doing it. This is what I feel, Dana. I think we have a bunch of clowns sitting in DC and they're not doing anything for the people, but they
Yeah.
were elected by people.
Yeah. 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 And so how do we educate the people though and say, hey, I mean, they keep sending them back. I mean, I know gerrymandered districts have a lot to do with it, but
Mhm.
why are those people in those gerrymandered districts okay with the if I went to Ruth's Chris or to St. Elmo's and I
Mhm.
got steaks as bad as these congressmen are, they would shut
Mhm.
that restaurant down.
Yep. Thank you. Yes. Yes, they will. Um, Let me tell you something. Let's say you say why people don't understand. This is example. I'm a very much involved in my temple here,
Mm-hmm.
in Sikh temple here in Plainfield, and they are really supporting me into my campaign. They're there for me, everything. So this one guy questioned me because I really don't want to bring this up, but then I do want it to because
Let's talk
our
about it.
previous our previous president, ex-president said that once he become a president, he'll take a payroll tax away, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people are really happy. People won't get it what is payroll taxes, right? If they're taking a payroll tax away, that is only beneficial to big corporations, so they don't have to pay a payroll tax. But then as an employee, they have to give you a 1099. And on 1099, you will pay more tax out
Mm-hmm.
of your pocket. So that guy was kind of at the temple, he was asking me a question. So, he goes like, why are you running from this party? I said, I needed a platform. So this is what I got. And then he goes like this, why are you not supporting him? I'm like, this is what it is. You guys need to understand, you guys do need to understand what's behind this.
Mm-hmm.
You are working class, you're working at some employee, it's a big corporation, but then you're really happy because they said that they'll take a payroll tax away. That is not beneficial to you. That's
Mm-hmm.
only beneficial to the big corporations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then he goes like, oh yeah. So I'm like, now you understand the dilemma behind this. He goes like, yes. So I'm like, do I have your vote? He goes like, sure, nobody made us understand like this. So people only want to hear what is beneficial to them, but they don't want to go search or go look for the facts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is the problem. We turn on a TV, we just listen to one channel or another channel, but we don't want to do our searches.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Before I became into politics, I wasn't interested this much, but then this every day I feel like, oh, this is future of my 11-year-old. My kids are in college. They need a better education, better funding. So public schools, we don't even have really good money for extra curriculum. Why not? My daughter is pretty smart. I wish to have more funds for her schools, her teachers. I wish to have teachers get paid more so they don't have to have a second job, or like you said, they don't have to drive a Uber. They're
Not that there's anything wrong with driving Ubers. I want people to understand.
not.
But this person went to school, got their education, more than likely has a graduate degree,
Thank
and had to
you.
get certification to teach kids. They shouldn't have
Yes.
to drive. They shouldn't have to get a
No,
second job.
no, that's where I was coming to. I'm a business owner. I'm making good money. My
Mm-hmm.
kid is going to public school because of course I am not into that category. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Where I can send my kid to charter school or private school.
Yeah, yeah.
But that teacher in my daughter's school, I think they went through a college. They probably have a student loans on them. You
Whew.
know, right? So
Yes.
they should get paid better.
Yeah.
I don't know why Indiana we have our teachers not getting paid enough. I spoke with someone in Arizona today. It's one of my client, and then we were discussing. I was discussing his health insurance, but I don't want to say the number, but then that teacher was making a really good money in Arizona. So why Indiana can't pay that to our teachers? Our teachers are spending their time, they're using their brain, they're putting their time to making our kids' future.
They would rather give
And
them guns, Rimpy. They would rather give them guns and a Bible.
thank you. You were talking about that I think it was 1137
Mm-hmm.
or
Which one? I got them written down.
oh, the about is it 50? I think about that the church
SB 50, yeah, where the chaplain,
right?
yeah, the
No, yeah. Why is a Sikh chaplain is going to be allowed to go there? No. Is a Muslim, Hindu? No. Why? We need. Is that person is educated enough to? My son wanted to become a civil engineer. Let's say hypothetically, if he's in high school, is that person is educated enough to guide him for his civil engineering
No,
career?
no.
My daughter is a pre-law right now. Is that person, let's say if she was in high school, is that person is educated enough to educate her through her for her career where she's going right now, where she wanted to go right now?
Yeah,
No.
no.
We have a people who spend their time and they had an education to become a certified counselors.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it was interesting when I was advertising for this show out on X, Twitter, whatever they call it these days. You know, and I was excited about, you know, and I think I expressed in my post how excited I was to talk to you because we had talked a little bit already, and you can always tell when somebody's brain functions.
Yes.
You know, and so I was excited about, smart people. And somebody had posted and commented, well, what qualifies you to be a politician? You got to go to, people need to go to school to be a politician. And I'm like, then they were like, what qualifies her other than being in insurance? And I responded to it. I said, okay, so while you're in school learning political science, are you going to learn about every industry and every issue that policy is tied to that requires a vote?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not. So to
No.
suggest that you have to go to school to be a politician is ridiculous, especially when you're talking about our citizen government. We need people who understand agriculture and farming. We need people who understand engineering. We need people that understands technology and teaching. You can't just have, I remember even my sister one day, she was like, well, there was a bill out there that says that if you wanted to be elected official, you had to have a law degree. And I'm like, that's like saying that everybody has to think exactly the same way. Because when you're in law school, they teach you to think a certain way. When you're in medical school, they teach you to think a certain way. In technology, they teach us to think a different way. And if you have all the same type of thinking people in writing policy, that means you're not going to get good policy that thinks about the vast majority of humans. So I'm glad that you're running, and I'm glad that you're bringing your lived experiences into this arena. And I would be remiss, we are living in a time where, elected officials are trying to erase real American history. Especially as an African-American woman, I get pissed off pretty regularly at listening to them tell us that African-American history has no educational value. You are also a woman of color. Obviously our lived experiences are very different based on, our the way our upbringing was, where we started out. But the cool thing about being in America is that it doesn't matter where you come from, you can still ascend to what you want to, as long as you understand the barriers and how to navigate them. Yes. What would it mean to you and your community if you were to win this election? And I'm going to straight up acknowledge that you're a woman who is an immigrant from India, and your culture is rich and beautiful and colorful. What would it mean for you to win this seat?
I think I will be setting an example for kids who are women, or kids or younger girls who are colored of women, like they're from my religion. They're born and raised here, that if I can do this by coming at age 18, did a night school, working 2 jobs. I had 2 schools at the same time.
You were going to 2 different schools at the same time?
Yes, I was. The day I had my my school in the morning, I'll go to work from like 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. The next day, following day, I'll have a class in the evening. So I'll go back to school at 8, work at 8 in the morning, get off at 5, and then I did my night school. That's how I got my medical certifications. That's how I got into medical field. My dream was really to become a nurse one day, but situation in the house where I had to help my dad, paying some bills, I couldn't do it. But if I can, I can do this. Like if I'm here today, anybody can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not hard when you determine something. When you want to do something for better future of your country, of your kids, and I'm getting opportunity to serve these people, anybody can do this. I will be setting example in my community. And I tell them, I said, we need more women.
Absolutely.
We need to take one step further. You don't want to be just you went to work and then you came home and you did a house chores and voila, we're done. No, women can do anything these days.
Anything and everything.
Everything. You gotta once. This is what I feel. I said once you determine something, it's nothing hard to achieve that.
Okay. Okay.
And especially with the good intentions.
Okay. I love it. All right. I got to ask a tough question. Got to ask a tough one. When you win your election, what is the first piece of legislation you are going to work on?
Education.
Okay.
Education.
What do you want to see? Like that's the field, but what
I wanna see have a more goes to public schools.
More funding?
Yes. To charter schools. I want to have our kids, our students should have a better lunch access, quality food access at schools, extra curriculum access, anything and everything to do with our child education.
I love it. I love it. And there's always some education bills floating around Congress. So hopefully we can get you there and get you working with the fabulous Congressman Andre Carson and the Congressman Frank Mervan. And maybe we can send a few more folks there. It'll be really cool if we can flip some seats. I think if we keep talking about, I think we can have some success if we keep talking about abortion. If we keep talking about legalizing marijuana. And I'm not a little bit upset talking about the 91 criminal charges that the Orange Menace has, because this clown is talking about I want to be a dictator on the first day, and he's telling you. So I think this is an opportunity for us as Democrats to really hone in on what people are telling us that they want, right? Granted, you ask a Republican. Go ahead. You were about to say something.
Sorry, I do want to add something to that, the question you asked earlier. Okay. I do want to focus on rural area, low income schools also.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That is something we really need to help and focus on. And that will be also my agenda and I will be working on those schools. Low income schools, getting a better education, for those kids.
I love that you brought that up, because every time I talk about school choice, and I'm probably sounding like a broken record, when you're living in rural Indiana, what choice do you have? So now you have taken money out of the public school system in a place where there is no choice. There is no choice. I'm so glad that you brought that up, because our rural communities, and that's what happens. You get these folks in rural Indiana who didn't have the same level of education, and they see someone like you or me who they think we got a handout. Anybody gave me nothing but a hard way to go, right? They think we got a handout, and now they're resentful, and they take that, and then they listen to the Orange Menace tell them that it's us taking stuff from them, and they become angry. They become militant. They become these people who want to cause harm to fellow citizens for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for Thank you for saying that. That's dope as hell. All right. The hour usually goes by pretty fast, and well, here we are.
Yes.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm really excited about your campaign.
Thank you.
One, I think you're incredibly brave to run because you are stepping outside of your comfort zone, and you
Yes.
are here in Indiana. English is not your first language, and
No.
you have been able to articulate what your goals are. You you your the American culture is not your original culture, but you have adopted it and embraced it and
Mm-hmm.
believe that America can be what it said it was supposed to be for anybody that came here. And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad that you could have stayed in California and did it, but you came to
I
Indiana.
actually the reason why I came to Indiana because back in 2004 5 when we were looking at the education and all that schools are much better over here if we talk about the structure wise.
Hmm.
And then I used to live in Stockton. It's a town where I didn't want to send my kids to school there. So I told my husband, I said, either find a state where we can have a better school structures and everything, because my son was only 3 year old at that time, or we're going to move to a different state. I'm not sending my son to school here.
Hmm.
uh, you know you either have to come up with the private school money, or or we have to move state. So my uncle came here just to explore the state, and then he came and he was like, he went around and he looked at the schools. He goes like, oh wow, the high school is really nice, and we don't have any universities built up like that in some areas in California, if we really
Hmm.
talk about it. So where I seen schools in California with the mobile, homes, like those kind of rooms sitting with the fencing. The fence was not even like there anywhere. It
Hmm.
was like one of those metal fence
Hmm.
around the schools. Anybody can get in and get out of those schools. So I was like, the only reason why I moved to Indiana for my kids' better education and future.
And we do have some school districts in Indiana, like the Carmel Clay schools,
Yes,
Avon schools.
yes,
In the areas where there's a little bit more affluence, right? And I'm not,
yes,
I ain't trying to
yes,
call you out and like that, but like where there's a little bit more affluence, but
yes.
it's unfortunate that we can't what Carmel has and what Avon has, we can't
One
have it
has no.
everywhere. Why can't we
Yes.
have it in all of our school districts in Indiana?
Exactly.
You
So
know.
I really want to make my district better. And I'm here. If I'm running, once I get elected, I am here for the people.
I love it. All right. Indiana's own Dana Black. We are talking. We spent the night talking to Rimpi Girn, who is running for Congress out of the 4th District. Now, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on my Facebook. It's Gurn for Congress. Or email me at contact@gurnforcongress.com. My Instagram, it's GIRN, then it's number 4, and then Congress. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, Facebook. My website is gurnforcongress.com. Act Blue, I'm on there. I have an Act Blue.
Click it.
And
It's right there. Click the Act Blue link.
take the Act Blue link. Yes.
I love it. And do you have any events coming up where people can help you volunteer, anything like that?
We have our next fundraiser coming up on February 23rd.
Okay.
We're going to have our flyers coming out soon, hopefully by next Monday. It's going to happen in 2376 East Main Street, Plainfield, Indiana, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Food and drinks are going to be served. Please do come, join us, help us, click on the link, donate us, bring your checkbooks, enjoy our food and drinks.
All right. Hey, and I got to tell you, since you're having an in-person event, Act Blue rolled out a brand new feature last week, maybe a couple weeks ago, where you can
Uh-huh.
create QR codes right on our page. You don't have to go out to a third party anymore.
All
All you got to
right.
do is generate a QR code for your donation form, so you can have it on your phone. You can print it out, and then you don't have to worry about anything. Literally, you just have your QR code, let people scan it, and and you don't have to go to a third party to create it. So Act Blue, we're doing some things over there. The team over there, I was really excited about the QR code thing. That was dope.
Yes.
I was like, yes, because from a Stonewall perspective, I always had to make a
Uh-huh.
separate QR code somewhere else. Now you don't have to. You can print them right out on your form in Act Blue. Yes, I just gave an Act Blue plug. I sure did. I love my job. Y'all just mad because y'all not as happy as me. That's all. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I wish you the absolute best of luck on your campaign. And if there's something that I can do to help you out along the way, feel free to reach out to me. I'm easy to find. Plus, my nephew know how to get at me. I owe him a text message right now. I already know. I hear you, nephew. I know I owe you a message.
I always tell him I am blessed to have him on my campaign.
And continue to encourage our young people. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's nothing better than that. And he'll tell you I get on him when I see something not quite right. But I also do it in love because I believe that he has a bright future. So it's just I think it's up to us as the elder statesmen to make sure that his path to success is going in the right direction. So, all right, guys, listen, I got more guests coming up next week. It's been an amazing opportunity to chat with people. Listen, if you have not already done so, on February the 10th, Indiana Stonewall Democrats, we are hosting our annual Love is Love fundraiser. What do we do with this fundraiser? Let me tell you something. Candidates need money. And the LGBTQ plus people, we need advocates. We need accomplices, not just allies. We need accomplices. And every dollar we raise, for the most part, I'm going to say we pay for our website and pay for our MailChimp. But for the most part, all the money that we raise go toward our endorsed candidates. We raise our money and give our money away. And we ask that the candidate fill out a questionnaire. We vet them because we see every day that members of our LGBTQ plus community are under attack in the state of Indiana with legislation. They are literally trying to legislate away our trans community. They are writing it out in legislation. So guys, if you could, please consider purchasing a ticket to our event on February 10th at the Firefighters Union Hall on Mass Ave from 6 to 8. Or could you please become a sponsor? Please visit the Stonewall website, instonewall.com, or go to our Facebook page. We got that information up there. There's an event page. Please consider joining us because we raise that money and we give that money away to our candidates who are looking out for our community. All right. So there's the Stonewall plug. In the meantime, be sure to follow us on all the channels. Don't forget to visit the YouTube page, Instagram, iTunes. Turn Left is here for you. Share the information. We're trying to get this information out and get people committed to being civically engaged. Time, talent, or treasure. In the meantime, I will holler at y'all next week. Peace. Turn Left is the property of Black Pearl IT Solutions. Executive producer, Indiana's own Dana Black. Music by www.bensound.com.